This person, Wino Forever, put together a compilation of all the people who were after Johnny, criticized Johnny in 2023, who are now suspended, have their own problems, lost in court, or just gone. So let's take a look. Wino says, 2023 Johnny Depp Rewind, this was a very good JD year. If the tide turned for anyone, it was JD. This year, for most of the people that conspired against him, karma came back to vanquish those enemies. Sites like Vice, Jezebel announced shutdowns. Twitter personalities who orchestrated anti-JD agendas left social media, were suspended, or were canceled for their own controversies. I didn't list them all, but the dominoes continued to fall, and some flew to Israel because they couldn't get a job here. Right, you can't list them all, but I think she got most of the main ones. Let's see. It's titled Karmic Fiasco. All right, pretty interesting. Falling like dominoes, we see Michelle Dober, Christopher Bolsey, you know who, Miss AH, about to hit Dan Wootton, who we know is pretty much gone from everything now. Looks like Christopher Bolsey got sued. Then we have some smaller little accounts like You Are Heard, who left Twitter. This person, Camilla1AA, however you say that, was really on Amber's side, left Twitter. This person here, Shotay Bunny, suspended, but she might be back, but okay. Leave Her Alone, restricted. Michelle Dauber, left Twitter, we'll get to that. And Kat Tembarge, who's doing TikToks, she still has the occasional article here and there, but, no real voice. Then, Eve Barlow. So I think some of these are slightly older, but most of them hold up today. Because I could have sworn Leave Her Alone and Shotay Bunny is still on Twitter. Or X. Okay. First listed here, Chris Bosey. Trolls were celebrating when Twitter suspended the Bot Sentinel account. They think Bot Sentinel's dead. So basically this guy here was all on Amber Heard, all supporting her, saying things like she doesn't have bots, she did nothing wrong, the whole business. But it turns out Chris got into some trouble himself. And through the grapevine, I guess Elon kicked him off. Chris Bosey's crying big. Not only did Twitter suspend the Spoutable account, but they also suspended the Bot Sentinel account, which were both his, I assume. So, he's gone. I didn't cover him much. Video here, video there. But all I know, he was a heavy supporter of Amber. Then, of course, Amber herself, but we know all about that. Amber pleads for help from judge in $1 million court battle over Johnny Depp judgment. Amber Heard countersues insurance company for breaching their contract as they refuse to pay $8.3 million she owes to Johnny Depp, reports. So a lot of trouble there. But these are slightly older. Like I said, though, we know all about her. Is Michelle Dauber, Stanford University, responsible for Katie Meyer's suicide? Part 2. Now, Katie Dauber was an especially annoying person who was a Stanford professor, I guess still is, and said all this disgusting stuff about Johnny. I think in the end, the school said something like, well, we gotta respect her freedom of speech, which on one hand I do too, but it just goes to show that this is not a very responsible professor who's setting a high standard for such a top-level school. It shows kind of someone who whines about things, and they're wrong about those things, and they're things that have nothing to do with academia. Just her own personal interests. And by the way, she's got Johnny playing As My Guitar Gently Weeps the whole time, which is actually a great song, and I'm a huge Beatles fan, so good on that. And here's Dauber and her account that doesn't exist anymore. Disney faces $900 million loss in the box office, and now Warner Bros. Facing quite a big loss too, as we know. Which brings us to the man himself, Dan Wootton. And you know what? I used to be like, well, what's going on with Dan? How come the coverage ended? Well, the thing is, he got canceled. He paid the price. GB News dropped him, Mail Online, and where else did he work? Oh wait, it doesn't matter. He doesn't work there anymore. So if you get my drift, it all played out with Dan, and he did get his medicine in the end. And it ends with this here of Tom Petty playing As My Guitar Gently Weeps in a tribute concert for George Harrison, with Johnny playing along here. Johnny not with them, but in spirit, playing along. So, Wino did a great job here. Obviously, she didn't get every little small account and things, which I don't think she meant to anyway, As far as Eve is still on X, but Eve hasn't defended Amber in a long time. She's talking all politics now. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Doing shout outs, special thanks, things like that. We shall see what happens in 2024. The one thing we know is Aquaman 2 will be swimming into it as a flop. If you don't subscribe here, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.